Excited.
Yeah, I bet. Which events did you swim?
One back, two back, and then well, we didn't have the mile this meet, so I only did the 500, but nothing crazy.
Yeah, that's awesome, dude. We got a few more jumping in here. Good morning, everybody. Also, I just hit record, so if anybody has any issues with that, let me know. Or if you want to turn your camera off, that's fine as well. But I'll probably post this on the school so everyone else can catch it, or on Facebook as well. But yeah, about 3 minutes after here, let's jump in. I appreciate you guys joining today. I've been super excited about our first coffee with coaches, and I hope we can continue to do this more and everybody sees value out of it. It'll be a good opportunity for you guys to ask the coaches, Danny, Joe, and Nick questions that might be on your mind. Good chance for them to present their offerings to the team and to everybody to see if anything clicks, anything sticks with you, and then just talk about triathlon. We all love triathlon, and everybody likes to talk about it. I know my friends who don't do triathlon get tired of me talking about triathlon to them. So this could be that space and time for us to do that. So we'll get warmed up with introductions here in a minute. Then after that, just kind of talk about. I want a little bit of discussion on off season, how to avoid burnout, any best practices to set you up for the next season. Uh, Injury prevention, that kind of stuff really comes into play in the off season when you get a little additional time to do things that you might skip during the season. And I can speak from big experience that you should not skip those things, or you'll end up having three surgeries in less than a year and a half. But we'll touch on that. We'll touch on the future of Tri-Loco a little bit, and then we'll open the floor for Q&A. If at any point during the conversation you have a question you want to ask right at that point, feel free to throw it in the chat or raise your virtual hand at the bottom of the screen. There should be a button. I think it's under React, where it just puts up a little digital hand and we can call on you. So that being said, let's jump right in. So let's get a quick introduction here of the coaches. Ladies first. Danny, go ahead, take the floor.
All right. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining. Special shout out to Dawn for joining. She was my recruit. I see you, Dawn. Thanks for coming. So I might go over 3 minutes, Josh. I'm sorry.
That's all right. No worries.
But I've been in the endurance world for a long time. I ran cross country and track and field at the University of Wisconsin, and graduated there with my doctor of pharmacy in 2013. Quickly made my way into triathlon from there. My college cross country coach was a feeder coach for the USA Triathlon Elite Development Program. He actually coached Gwen Jorgensen in college as well. So I kind of came from that same lineage. I moved to Indy in 2014 and raced as a professional triathlete in 2015 and 2016. At the end of 2016, I competed in my first full Ironman distance triathlon at the university, or at Wisconsin, Ironman Wisconsin, same location where I went to school for 6 years. And it's then I decided that I wanted to go back and compete as an amateur. And that actually led me to one of my favorite experiences in triathlon, and that is joining Tri-Loco. Ever since I moved to Indy, Josh had his eye on me, and he just badgered me over and over again to join the team. And so I finally did when I went back to being an amateur in 2017, and it was one of the best decisions I ever made. I met so many wonderful people, have so many great training and racing memories, and that's a direct credit to the Loco community. So much more than just a team. It's the heart and soul of the sport. You know, it's become so many people's why, and that is the power of community. So at the end of 2017, I won Ironman Wisconsin, overall amateur female, went on to race in Kona in 2018, where I finished 7th in my age group. Earlier in my career, I was USET's U Athlete of the Year in 2014, and then in 2019 and 2022, I was Athlete of the Year. Outside of triathlon, I work full-time as a clinical oncology pharmacist at MD Anderson Community Cancer Center South, and I've been with Community for 11 years now. So I do understand what it takes to work full time and balance that with triathlon training, whether that's sprint distance all the way up to Ironman distance and beyond. You know, so many athletes kind of underestimate the amount of the toll that your body takes from just life stress in general. And balancing that with your training is a very intricate prescription. I live in downtown Indy with my fiance of 5.5 years and our 2 4-year-old cats, one of which is sitting right next to me. She thinks she runs this place. But as a coach, I specialize in intentional training structure, really understanding the purpose behind each and every session. Even the most recovery of recovery sessions has a purpose. So that's my specialty. I understand power-based cycling and run development, obviously with my history as in a Division I runner and competing on the USATF elite running circuit for a couple years. I know what it takes to push your potential to new heights. If you have a goal, I can help get you there, whether that's starting your first race, finishing, chasing that PR, winning your age group, winning overall, or going pro. Like, I can help you. It's all about you and your goals. I think one thing that's really pertinent nowadays is AI. And AI can be a very powerful tool, and I think a lot of athletes are turning to it for their triathlon training. But AI coaches can never understand your life context. Unless you're inputting every single input about your life into that AI system, it's never going to understand. And you know, your stress, your fatigue, your emotional response to training, your confidence, your fears, all of those things, only a human can really understand and change your outlook from there. Trending data over time, you know, like understanding why you're improving or plateauing or detraining, like those things a human really understands and AI typically can't. So I think that's just an important caveat to human-based coaching and what should remain at the forefront of your mind if you're seeking out ways to improve. Human coaching is about relationships, and triathlon is actually about relationships too. So noticing patterns, adjusting when life happens, helping you to see what you're capable of. Especially on days where you can't see it yourself. And I've been there. I've been the overtrained, burned out athlete, unfortunately, many times. I understand what it takes to actually improve and not just on paper what it takes. You know, again, combining that targeted prescriptive training balanced with rest and clean nutrition. I think the key words there are balance and rest. I think a lot of athletes underestimate the power of rest, but not just a rest day here and there where you just spend your entire day doing all the chores that you have put off the rest of the week because you were too busy training. That's not actual rest. It has to be intentional. And if you need help with the nutrition side of things on the race course, outside of the race course, I've got you there too. I know what it takes to fuel yourself to being a better athlete. And again, like fueled athletes are fast athletes. You can't improve if you're under fueled or overtrained. So, and I understand both of those pieces. I think the biggest thing that probably sets me apart from other high level coaches is the communication piece. So if you're if you're a higher performing athlete, say, and you're looking, you know, maybe you've had a local coach for a couple years and you're looking to maybe step up your knowledge and broaden your abilities, you might look to see like oh, what high level coaches are out there that I could look into on more of a national level or a statewide level. 9 times out of 10, if you're going with one of the top tier plans, even the top tier plans are going to limit the communication you can have with that coach. And if you're going for the top tier plan, you're going to be forking out like 4-digit numbers per month. So I, as a coach, believe you can't reach your potential unless you have access to resources every single moment you need them. If you're only allowed to speak with your coach once a week or twice a month or whatever that is, you're never going to improve because you're just going to be waiting to explode until you can talk to your coach again. So that's just not an effective way to train, and it's not an effective way to receive coaching, in my opinion. So with me, you get unlimited communication. You get unlimited access to me. And I mean, other than that, I'm very goal oriented. Like, I'm going to be here for you and what your goals are, not what I think you can do. It's about what you think you can do. And if I learn about you as an athlete, I can help identify what maybe that could be for you. But at the end of the day, it's what you want. And if you want to go out there and finish that first half iron distance triathlon, like, let's freaking go. Like, that's my wheelhouse right there. And if you also are thinking, you know, like, I have great potential here. I could see myself like going for my pro card. I got you there too. Like, whatever it is, from the smallest of goals, which to you might not be small, those are goals. Those are still goals, and I can help you achieve them.
Yeah, that's amazing. Thanks, Dani. I can definitely speak to the testament of your coaching. My fiance Olivia, who's in here, Dani coached her to her first Ironman, and it's that full-on communication, that understanding. And what you're saying about AI, you can see that in practical application. I use ChatGPT all the time. Every time I type in, hey, I've got a business idea for weaving baskets, it's like, yeah, that's a great idea. Let's go do that. It's not. Yeah. It's a terrible idea. So it's going to give you that confirmation bias a lot.
AI is formulated to positively reinforce anything you tell it. It wants you to keep coming back to the platform and eventually spend money. So it's going to positively reinforce you no matter what. Even if there's something that maybe you need to hear a hard truth about, AI is not going to be the person to tell you.
Exactly. Thank you. Joe, let's hear from you, brother.
I'm Joe Fazzini. I've been a member of the Tri-Loco since 2015. That's when I had made my decision I was going to do my first Ironman. And that's when I was looking for a club to join. And I was doing the Eagle Creek triathlons just to keep going. And I'll get back to how I got started. But that's when I first met Josh and all the other locals that were there. I mean, it was a big community race, and the locals have supported me along the way through everything I've done. I mean, they've come up and support my local race that I put on up in Michigan. You know, and today it's a blessing to me. I get to be with the locals and some of my favorite people I get to be here with, which is it's always been important to me. And that's what I found out about joining a community. It's the people that make the difference. You know, I could have gone other places, but I was looking for a group that, first of all, I didn't cross my first Ironman finish line until I was 57. That's what it took me 3 years to get ready for that, because I was being keen, as Dani would know, I was being treated for cancer when I made that decision. And I can remember meeting with my urologist and oncologist telling them that I wanted to do this thing called Ironman. And I was on a drug at that time called Lupron, which was ADT therapy, which shut my testosterone down to zero. And they decided that through their communication that I wouldn't be able to get the amount of training in, because I told them my goal was to go 17 to 20 hours a week of training. And they kind of just shook their head and said, I don't know if it's going to be possible. Because at that time, I mean, running a mile was somewhat difficult for me. So they through their communication, they said, let's try taking you off the medication, because it was a medication they told me I'd have to be on the rest of my life, because they couldn't get my PSA levels to abate on their own. So I had to make a decision, and they helped me make a decision to stop taking the drug let my testosterone get a baseline back and start training. And the beautiful thing about Ironman distance triathlon, it kind of supported my goal of not having to take the drugs anymore, and kept my sugar levels and my insulin levels where they managed my PSAs, where cancer never returned. I'm sitting here today since 2016 when I made that final decision. I've been cancer free. And I attribute all that to long course endurance training. So I'm all in. My chips are all in because I found something that completely worked for me. And I love it when I sit down with Dr. Cook over at Simon Cancer Center, and he tells me, he goes, "Joe, you're just not in any textbooks." So when I finished in Arizona, which Josh was there supporting me at the finish line, and so was my wife and my kids. I mean, they've been at all my big finish lines, and I brought my poster and signed it, and he mounted it next to his diplomas in his office, and it's still there today. Because I don't think he's got a lot of people who have been treated for prostate cancer, for long-term prostate cancer. I was diagnosed at 49, that were able to stay in remission. That's why today I don't miss any days training. If I do take a day off, it's very intentional, like Danny referred to earlier. But that's how I ended up at Tri-Locos, and that's how I dove into long course triathlon. Was to I wanted to be cancer free, and I didn't know any other way to do it, because when they tell you you're going to be on this drug the rest of your life, and then you're walking around like a zombie with a zero testosterone, it was harsh, and they had the conversation with me that we can't cure this. You're going to be on this the rest of your life. And it was like, well, F this basically is what I said. I'm going to try something different. And that's what landed me at the Loco's doorstep. And I've been here ever since. So, but my first initial attempt at, I'm approaching nearly 50 years of endurance training. I've trained through my teens, my 20s, my 30s, my 40s, 50s, and now I'm 67 years old now, and still doing it. So I've seen a lot of changes in technology over the years. Because when I first started running, all we had was a Timex that we could actually just track our time, and didn't give us anything about distance. You went by feel and say, I think this is 10 miles, or you track it in your car, and you do that. So, over the years, with all the platforms we have today, we're certain the people coming into the community now are truly blessed. You can have any type of data you want. There was no sweat testing back then. It's just like, if you could taste your sweat, you were salty, right? That's how it went. So,
yeah.
But yeah, I've seen a lot. I started running in 1976, my junior year in high school. I suffered a sport injury where I snapped my ankle playing football. And when I mean snap it, I mean break a twig, and that's what my ankle was like. So I was immobilized for 9 months, in a cast from my hip to the tip of my toes. And I was just crutch bound. And so I sat on the couch, went to school, sat on the couch, drank a lot of beer. Back then, I was raised in the tavern business, so we always had access. And I ballooned up to 240 pounds. And when the second the cast come off, I said, I'm going to start running. So in 1977, when I had that cast cut off, I actually started running, and I couldn't run a mile. I couldn't. I tried running around the block. I put on a pair of Pro Keds, and that was it. So I said, well, I can't be this guy anymore. And my senior year in high school, I took on a mission to become a runner. And my senior year in high school, I went from 240 to 155 pounds, and I became an avid runner. I ran before school. I ran after school. And it was all by feel. There was no technology or anything. It was just, how do I feel today? Can I go run? Can I get it to a day? And there was times I would get off work as a high school kid that I would literally go run at midnight because, that's the time I had. But I went through most of my adulthood, my 20s running, lifting weights, my 30s running and lifting weights. And I did venture into the triathlon world in the 90s, in the mid 90s. There was a triathlon. I wanted to try it, and I went out and did it. It was just a sprint, and I had 2 kids by then, so it really was. I don't want to use the term energy drain, but it was a lot when you become a full-time worker, little kids. It was a lot of time commitment on that. So I just stuck to running because I could get up and do that while they were still sleeping, and that's what I did with my time. I I had a really good, successful career in corporate America. I'm still not retired. I really enjoy working. I people say, when are you going to stop and enjoy travel? And I go, man, I've traveled my whole life. I've been on private planes. I've been on, you name it, and I've done it all. And it's like, I still enjoy. I like the challenge of still working into my 60s. People, often wonder why I'm still doing it because I enjoy it. It's not about money at this point in my life, and that for me right there is a good segue. Is how I got into coaching. Is that I was being coached through all my Ironman times. I've got 2 full Ironmans under my belt. I don't know, 7 or 8 halves. Um, I can't tell you how many marathons I've run. I mean, I can't even count them really at this point. And that's how I became hooked on endurance sport. But as I've gotten older, and I had a lot of injuries over the years, from labrum tears to shoulder injuries. I'm nursing a bad bicep right now, and it wasn't from training; it was from lifting roofing shingles. That I had just had a roof on. I was moving shingles around. So I did something stupid again, and it's like, okay, now I got to ice this and get it back in shape so I can go back and start doing some deadlifts again and stuff. So, but I became a USAT certified coach in 2018. I've been coaching ever since. I just recertified for another 2 years. I went totally vegan when I was diagnosed with cancer in 2008, to avoid any of the animal products. So I went and got through T. Colin Campbell out of Cornell University. He was running a program where you can go on and get a designation from plant-based nutrition. So I wanted to learn everything I could, and I wanted to learn from Dr. Campbell, who was renowned. He wrote the China study and everything else. And, I sought out all my own answers through that. I mean, I had great doctors. I can't tell you, I've had hundreds of nurses, radiation oncologies, medical oncology doctors along the way that have been just tremendous. And I'm very grateful for clinical pharmacology, because if it wasn't for me being able to talk to people and get answers of what are these medications they're doing to me and how long can I survive on this stuff? So, I mean, I got a lot of great information, but I always ask questions, and that's the kind of coach I am. I mean, I'm with an elite group here. I've never won an Ironman. I've always told Josh, I said, I'm in the party wave when it comes to any of my races. I'm in the pack where we're laughing and giggling, we're having fun, we're competing, but yet, it's not about winning that race, it's about finishing that race. And I think, but I can tell you this, and I'll close with this: every athlete that's come to me with a goal, whether it was going sub 4 on a marathon, completing their first Ironman, doing their second or third Ironman with a goal in mind, I've always got them to their goals. Nobody under my watch and my team and with me, it's been nobody's failed. Nobody's failed. And 2 things I always preach, and I'll close with this, is that it's about injury prevention so that you can keep going. And then 2, it's about family first. I know what it feels like to have kids. I know what it feels like to have a full-time commitment with work. And it's always about those things, that fitting it in. I mean, I've got athletes that get up at 4 o'clock in the morning or doing it at 11 o'clock at night. And my job is to keep them moving and make them durable and make they understand that it's family first. And those are the 2 things I still preach to everybody. I'm not saying that if somebody came to me and said, I want to go to win a big race, that I couldn't get them there. It hasn't been my experience yet. And nor do I seek out that. There are plenty of people like Dani who can get you there. My goal is to help people live their dreams. And because I've been able to experience what that feels like. I mean, for my 2026 goals, I mean, I still have goals. I'm 67 and I still have goals. I mean, I'm looking at the Indiana State Games in the 40K time trial. I want to qualify for the Senior Olympics in 2027 in the time trial. I think it's doable. I was looking at the times that these guys are putting up. If you hear my dog, my bulldog barking, he's a great watchdog. Come time at the time is bad. But I mean, I look at the times these guys are putting up, and I know they're achievable for me. So the rate, I'm looking at the June timeframe, so I'm already focused on that. But with that, I'm just really grateful to be here. I get to be with my favorite people, so that's all I got. Thanks,
Thanks, Joe.
Josh.
Absolutely. And I love your approach to the family first. The Iron Widow is a real thing.
Oh yeah,
And
no doubt.
it doesn't have to be. So
Well, you
that's the
met my
hard part.
wife.
She's not going anywhere. Yeah.
No, she stuck with me through all that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thanks, Joe.
You're Joe, you're an inspiration to all of us. So I just
Yeah,
want you to know
absolutely.
Let's just keep going, guys. Let's just keep going.
Man, I have so much respect for what I call the advanced age groups, because especially in the situation I'm in now, it's like, yeah, they're smaller age groups for a reason, because to be
Yeah.
able to get to that level is insane, right? Like they're not the
hard.
fastest
It's
ones out
hard.
there, but to stay fit and whole and injury free, yeah, it's impressive, man. Thank you very much. So our third coach here, our newest, the young blood, Nicke Sommers. Jump on in, brother.
Valid. Thanks everybody that's here. I I'm obviously the youngest one here. I'm only 21 years old. But with that being said, I've been a swimmer since I was 8. So I've been competitively swimming um, since I was 8 years old. So it's about 13 years now. I've done 4 full Ironmans, 7 halves, um, pretty much any race in the Midwest, any iron
Wow.
distance race in the Midwest, I've done it. Um, Qualified for 70.3 Worlds a few times, haven't been able to go because of school. But yeah, I was the youngest participant at Ironman Arizona, which was kind of cool. They shouted that out when I was crossing the finish line. Um, but for me, I'm definitely a swim focus, which is most people's struggle. Um, I see a lot of times that even guys at the college that I talk to, they're like, "Man, I feel like I could bike and I could run. I can't swim." And that's how obviously a lot of people are in triathlon. I want to use my years of experience with multiple different coaches and multiple different programs to kind of um, figure out what works best for everyone. And I'm really in on like focusing on technique and technical work first. Um, I notice like on TikTok and Instagram Reels, a lot of people force themselves into training without focusing on technique first. Um, I feel like a lot of the time folks come in, they're like, "Oh, it's swimming. You just move yourself through the water." Nah, there's a little bit more to that. But as
A lot
in
of it. A lot of it,
yeah.
Nick. A lot of
But
it.
as for the winter though, like I think the winter's the best time to swim. It's super cold outside. You don't want to go train outside, which let's be real, you don't want to train when it's 10 degrees outside in the negatives, windy, cold. No one likes that. The pool, it's warm, eh. It's warm, it's indoors, it's controlled environment. Um, and it's just a good time to do it. Especially um obviously it's a big family holiday time of year as well. Um, which pools open super early, um, and they're pretty much open throughout the day in my area. Um, as for like as for coaching and growing as a swimmer, um, I am I'm super focused on like actually being with my consumer when I'm coaching. So actually being at the pool with them, watching technique, because that's the best way to do it is to be there, really watch each element of the stroke, tweak it, change it. Um, But yeah, so that's my focus. I charge $45 a session at 1 hour sessions. Um, some of the big things that I focus on, obviously technique. For triathlon, a lot of upper body technique and especially breathing because breathing is difficult in swim, especially at I can say at Ironman Maryland, it was really difficult because the jellyfish were all up in my face, all up in my hands,
Yeah.
face, nose, ears. That made that made breathing and sighting even challenging for me. So um, finding that like what works for you and like what your pattern needs to be. Like I do 10 strokes and then look up. So I breathe every stroke, take 10 strokes, look up. That's how I like to do it. But finding the best and most efficient way is my big thing. Um, I also focus a lot on flip turns. I know a lot of triathletes just don't do flip turns. They're difficult, they're hard to learn. Um, but knowing how to do them and do them well really helps with training. You you carry that momentum through the wall. Um, you can lower your intervals if you're interval training. Um, it just makes it a lot smoother. It's also nice for your shoulders because when you're moving around on the wall, hand on there, you're moving your shoulder around, getting it in weird places. You don't want to be doing that. Um, as for like equipment though, I get a lot of questions about goggles. Um, everyone asks about goggles on like the forums on Facebook, on uh, God, everywhere. Like even when I'm at races, guys will like, or folks will see me and I'm a front pack swimmer. I'm not gonna lie, and they'll see me they'll be like, "What goggles are those?" And I'm like, "Well, they're something that only a swimmer would know about." Um, but like as for equipment, Arena Cobras, my favorite goggles ever. Um, super comfortable, very nice, last a long time. Only con, super expensive. They're like 80, well, they're like $80. Triathlon's expensive. But the other great option is like the Speedo speed sockets. Um, those are always fantastic. Those fit people. If people don't fit well into the Cobras, they fit really well into the speed sockets. So those are two big ones. As for other equipment that like I think is important for triathlon, um, a pull buoy, um, to focus on that upper body work, building strength with new technique. Obviously, technique comes first, but fins is also a huge one. You don't kick a whole lot in like races, but it's good to have it like under your belt. And it also helps for rehab as well. So that's another good part about swimming in the off season is that you can take a step away from running a little bit or biking a little bit
Yeah.
and focus on getting those joints and everything right.
Much
I
easier on the
think,
joints than pounding the
yeah.
ground all the time. Yeah, for sure.
And then kickboard as well. Um, it just it just makes it easier. Kickboard's nice. Let's see. What else do I have? Um, as for I know we talked about AI swim sets and or not AI swim sets, but AI plans and stuff like that. Um, I mean, I've self-coached myself for 4 years now in triathlon, and I can confidently say that an AI swim set or an AI run set is not optimal a lot of the time. Um, I remember there was one time I was really curious, so I created one for I think it was like a 4,500 yard swim set, and it gave me like 450s for warm up, and I was like, that is not enough. So warming up and cooling down is a big part.
Yep.
Um, and creating swim sets is really difficult for some people. Um, but I've got 13 years of them under my belt, doubles every day for as long as I can remember. So I've got some good ones tucked away. Um, but yeah, as for races I'm doing this year, Ironman Canada, I'm really excited for that one. It looks like a beautiful area. It's in Ottawa, so that'll be fun. And then I'll be doing 70.3 Happy Valley in Pennsylvania. So that one looked really cool. I think it's the North American Championships as well. So I'm hoping to see some big hitters there, even if I'm not gonna be right up with them. But it should be kind of
I'm,
cool.
I'm
So yeah,
confident. I'm confident you will be. You're on
especially
fire.
after the new wheels from Danny, those are fantastic. So,
Hell yeah,
Nice.
brother.
but
So,
yeah, that's all I got.
great, man. Thank you. Thank you. Let's jump right into off season and staying fresh, avoiding burnout. From the three experts here, what are some tips that you can give on staying engaged enough that you're still making progress, but giving yourself the time to breathe a little bit and maybe step away from endurance?
Well, I want to jump in and echo what Joe said about um, durability and family first. And those are, I actually wrote these down as off-season tips. Um, Typically, the first thing I do in my off-season is give back, because for months and months and months, you've been pouring yourself into whatever goal you have for yourself that season. And it's this big buildup. And guess what? You can't do it yourself. You have a family that supports you. You have friends that support you. And those people have been giving, and supporting you for months on end. So when you finish that race, so you accomplish that goal, my mindset immediately goes to how can I give back to those people that just gave to me for so long. So family first, friends first, giving back to those people, asking like, hey, what do you want to hang out? Like what's something you want to do? You know, let them kind of be your guiding light for a little bit. I think that's really important. In the off season, like being intentional about those relationships, because when you give back to those people and they feel appreciated, you feel grounded, you feel more grateful, and guess what? That positive feedback cycle just builds on itself, and you can stay inspired to go for even bigger things next year. So, and then the durability piece, another off-season tip would be hit the weight room. Like that's where you're going to build your foundation and your frame to be able to handle all that volume next year. And if you get behind in the strength section of things in the off season, your triathlon season the following year is probably going to be really hard to compete all the way through injury free. And that includes your brain. Your brain is also a muscle that needs to be exercised. And it can only handle so much when you're throwing things at it that you're not ready for. So hit the weight room for that durability.
Yeah, absolutely. I think on the giving back point, like the off season is that good time where your cortisol levels are coming down too, and you're a little bit more enjoyable to be around because that stress level is not just through the roof, preparing for the next race or bouncing to workout. I think with that is also the time to give back to yourself. Do those things that you've been ignoring, if that's massage or going to the stretch room or things like that. But yeah, that's great insight. And also on the strength training is finding that balance of balancing out your body to we are so focused on going this direction, we forget to go this direction and that direction, and then you end up with messed up hips because you can't step side to side, and that's what's going to derail you. So I think in that the off-season strength training, having a coach for that to point out the weak points is huge. I used to work with Doug Robinson, and his big take was functional movement, FMS, functional movement systems, and he screened me put me through the weirdest movements I've ever seen that I couldn't do. And they said, we're not swim, biking, or running until you can do these. And that was to create the whole physically strong athlete. I think the intention in the strength training is massive, because you can go in and just do curls for days and you're coming out looking like a buff guy, and that's really not productive or leading to your next season of racing. So great points there. Joe, did you have anything?
Well, and my first response is it depends, right? It all depends on what your 2026 schedule looks like. And I always, especially through my 50s and late 40s, even through on my entire 40s, I always like to do an early season marathon for me personally. Now, it depends on when I'm coaching an athlete is where are they at emotionally, and can they handle the volume of running? I heard it earlier, running outside when it's 10 degrees here in the Midwest. And, for me personally, I very seldom missed workouts outside. I prefer to be outside. But I would always say in an off season, like I've got athletes now that have just finished marathoning and Ironman, and I really like them to take a few weeks off when they're done. A few weeks of just decompress, do something fun, a full week of complete rest. And, but one guy now, he's just back out doing fall gravel riding. And I, gravel riding is the new pickleball. That's how I tell people, if you really want to go out, get out in nature, buy a gravel bike. And, so I think that's important, is that rest, to recuperate from, let everything heal, everything heal, and have some fun, eat a little bit more of the stuff you wouldn't eat. Have that piece of cake, have that cupcake at the birthday party. And I'm a big believer in that. And, but if you're getting ready for a March or in April, a Carmel Marathon, an LA Marathon, which I always love flying out to Los Angeles and doing their marathons, just a blast. And it's always in March, early March. So, I train through the winter. But I've got athletes that are planning to do Ironmans, and they ask, I want to do this marathon. I really don't want them to put that much volume in running. I'd rather see them, if they're going to build their endurance, spend the time in the pool and on the bike. So, when you start to ramp up after that couple of weeks off, and you start to look at what are the goals and objectives for 2026 or that following year, I'd rather spend the time on the bike versus pounding the pavement with shoes out.
Yeah.
We'll build that in gradually once your endurance is back where we need it. But I'm a big believer in, if you've got a late season Ironman, you're doing an early season marathon. And but after your base is there, it's not going to go away overnight. You'll get it back quickly. I always believe in that muscle memory is very important. That muscle doesn't forget. Mm-hmm. But I always like to prescribe, if you're going to do a late season Ironman, is to lay off the running and let's just build with cycling and swimming. And but that's why my answer is it depends.
Yeah.
But I believe during that time, you've got to really evaluate yourself and have some fun with it. If it's mountain biking that brings you joy, get out and mountain bike. If it's put on a rucksack and go walk. There's a lot of different ways that we can accomplish what you want. Staying injury free, which is very, very important. Don't let those injuries, and let the injuries you have accumulated, they're just little, but they're there. Let those heal so that we can go back and attack a structured sessions after session. I can go on, but that's really my philosophy.
Perfect. In my experience, I often remind athletes that it takes 2 weeks until, and correct me if I'm wrong, guys, 2 weeks until you start losing endurance, start losing fitness. True. So you can take that 2 weeks off. I might have to dust off some cobwebs after that, but.
And even then, it's only a very small percentage.
Yeah, right.
It takes like 3 months to lose everything. It takes 3 months to lose everything. Even after 2 weeks, you're losing some, but it's a percentage. Oh, wow. So when you're in your off season, don't worry about I haven't been doing anything for 5 days, I've lost everything. That's just simply not true.
Right. But the recovery gains in that 2 weeks are huge.
Massive.
And it's here. The recovery is here too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Between years.
Yeah. And Nick, I know swimmers traditionally don't necessarily have an off season, but
Oh, we don't. But yeah, I can
Completely
definitely say,
non-impact.
yeah. Well, little torque on the shoulder never hurt anybody. But, I will
Yeah.
say that prioritizing the rest, especially after races. I know I did Lake Placid and Maryland this year. Um, those are 8 weeks apart. Um, in that 8 weeks, I traveled to Peru for an immersion trip for school. Um, I got a bunch of tattoos, so I couldn't be in the water or outside really. Um, and I didn't do the rest, or I didn't recover after Lake Placid like I should have, which made Maryland extremely challenging. And I'm still having to deal with that now mentally, because my race in Maryland was not great. Um, so yeah, focus on intentional rest, especially those 2, 3 weeks after. I wish I would have done that. Um, and I'm not gonna lie, I suffered a lot because of it, mentally and physically. Um, as for other off-season stuff, obviously it's a lot of food holidays. I would say use that to your advantage. Hit the weights, bulk up a little bit. I know that during swim season I gain about 10 pounds. And then I shave about that exact 10 off in the summer when I'm training for tri. So use the time where you're maybe not doing as much endurance training to build some um just like injury proofing and a little extra muscle. Um, let's see. Oh, one of my big things that I do is I write reflections. I write something after every race I've done. Um, I usually put like a summary on whatever I post on Instagram, but I have a way longer one that I write in this leather-bound journal, which has all the training I've ever done in it for the last 4 years, um, which I think is kind of cool.
that's
Um,
awesome.
but yeah, writing reflections is really important. You can point out your weaknesses, point out your strengths. Um,
Yeah.
I learned it in a wellness class for it was like a half credit college class. It was mindfulness and something else. I don't remember the exact course title, but we did a lot of yoga and a lot of like body scans, breath work. It was very nice. Um, those ways of detaching are also super nice because if your mind's always moving like mine, you end up reflecting while you're doing them. Um, but yeah, and then my last thing, sign up early and make yourself do it. I'm already signed up for 2 big races next year, might add a third, but I know that I have Canada in 10 months. So having that 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 event in sight, I think is super important to keeping folks on track. Um, because otherwise you kind of feel like you're training for so what? I mean, that's
Yeah.
how I am personally, but
Yeah. You
sign up
said
early.
one of my favorite, well, two of my favorite words in that first one being breath work. You guys know I love that shit. But the second one, intentionality, being intentional
Yes.
with what you do. And in
Setting
that,
setting intentions.
yeah. Yeah. And in that off season, that'll really, I believe, mentally keep people on track. It's like, yeah, if you're at the holiday party and there's a piece of cheesecake there that you want to eat, intentionally telling yourself, I'm eating this now in the off season because it's something I won't do in season. And being intentional with that will really set, I think, guidelines and parameters around how you handle those kind of situations as well. In reflection and journaling, man, that's huge. That it's a celebration for yourself. It's something that you can reflect back on later and experience. And then it's also just note taking of what went well, where do you need to work on, what's good, what's bad, those types of things. So that's really good insight, Nick. I really liked all that. Um, So yeah, anything else to add on the off season and preventing burnout and staying fit and whole? Cool. So let's jump into our last section here, and then we'll open for Q&A. The future. So what we're looking ahead at. So Tri-Loco, you guys all know, I've been talking about it nonstop. You're probably tired of seeing it, but we're moving on to school. The school platform spoke to me so loudly when I first found it. I remember 10 years ago when I took over being president of Tri-Loco, I was like, I want to create an app where I can have the calendar, where we can manage dues, where we can communicate, post, share pictures, all of that. And I actually sat down with a guy who developed SaaS, software as a service, to try to create exactly what school is. And it just wasn't feasible at that time, but it's here and it's now. And the more engagement we can have on there builds the community. We all four of us touched on it at the beginning of the call here, that community it's triathlon is a solo sport, but it's really a community driven sport. Right. If you don't have people to talk to about it, to learn from, to share with, it gets really hard. It can be depressing at times. It helps you remember your why you're in the sport. In this community, I want to build so that we can all teach each other. We can learn from each other. We can share things that are happening with us personally, or, in your triathlon career. And so I really encourage all of you to be engaged in there, share as much as possible, ask questions. If you have a workout coming up that you don't want to do alone, throw it in there. I know we've been doing that on Facebook a lot, but Facebook gets lost because there's so much scrolling and so much bullshit on Facebook that we don't need to see every day. So yeah, just really ask you guys to buy in on the school. It helps a lot, and we'll just continue to grow and help each other. And then as far as races for next season, anybody have any recommendations on something we should target? I'm kind of looking for a late season 70.3 if I'll be ready, but open to suggestions if anyone has any. Nick,
You're coming back, Josh?
We're gonna try. If I can get rid
Hell
of this
yeah,
thing,
brother!
Yeah.
we're going. I'm doing my PT now, which is probably the hardest part because there's such small, minute movements. But yeah, we'll try to make it happen. So I'm thinking a late season 70.3. Augusta sticks out in mind, but we can.
I recommend Michigan because
Yeah, Michigan's great. I did that.
Frankfurt is awesome. I've done it a couple times, and I did a relay last year. It was great.
Yeah, that's a beautiful race. That was my last 70.3 I've done, and it was phenomenal. So much fun.
Yeah.
I threw out North Carolina. That was a really good experience.
North Carolina?
It's very well organized, and it was awesome. So
is that the one with the big climb?
I don't know that there was like a big climb. I don't remember any big climb on the bike.
Okay.
You do have those graded bridges you have to cross, but they're not that bad.
Gotcha.
But you have like a channel swim, and it's fast, so it was nice. The run course is really pretty. It's kind of like a gradual uphill to the turnaround point, but it's shaded. There's tons of people like in their yards with music, and like the volunteers are incredible. Like I can't say enough good things about the race. It's so well organized. The only thing that was new was the 2 different transitions. So you have to like catch a bus to T1 in the morning by like 5:15. And then there's another shuttle that takes you to the swim start, but they have it like down to a science how well organized it is. So excellent. I highly recommend.
Cool. We'll note that too.
I propose. So I would like to speak highly of Augusta. I'm not here to like persuade anyone, but my experience at Augusta was amazing. They also have some logistical things where they have to bus you to the swim start because it is a river swim. But the bike was so fun. It reminded me a lot of Wisconsin, actually, or like Southern Indiana. And then the run was just beautiful and fast and flat and through the cute downtown. It's like an old timey, like Main Street kind of vibe. A lot of people out on their front doorsteps cheering you on. Great volunteers. Never done North Carolina, but I've heard wonderful things. I've also heard so many good things about Michigan. So what I propose we do is actually throw it out on school as a poll and get people to chime in and see see where we land, because I definitely want to have a target race that has the most locos there, because that's really what makes it the most fun, is when there's a big group of people.
Yeah, we I think our last real big destination 70.3 was Panama City, and we probably had
That was wild.
15. We we all ended up on the beach drinking pretty heavily afterwards, and it got it was a lot of fun. We had a blast, but and that's the beauty about Tri-Loco, right? Is we can be that A-type personality to get business done, and then we can all just kind of relax and celebrate and enjoy. We're doing hard shit, and we forget that we are, and it's really important that we celebrate that and have a good time with it. So,
What is the size of your group?
currently, depends on what number you look at. So on Facebook, I think we're somewhere like 500 to 600 between both Indy and Louisville. The initiative with jumping onto school is going more nationwide, so we can bring more people together and open more chapters. So if you look at Facebook, it's like 500 or 600, because if you get in, there's no reason to take someone out. But on school right now, we're approaching 90. And we've been on the school platform for maybe a month, 2 months at this point. So goal is to just continue to grow that, so that, if you are going out to LA to do the marathon, you see somebody else in a Loco jersey and you can start talking to them, and you just know people everywhere. And other benefits with that is if you're just new into the sport and it is super expensive, maybe you are going out to Boulder to do a race and there's Locos out there, you can shack up at their house and share resources again. So yeah, ideally we'll get to that 500,000 point on school here in the next year, and just continue to grow from there. But the initiative too is to continue to have that local feel. We've got a really tight knit group here in Indy. There's a tight knit group down in Louisville that train and race together constantly. And if we can, there's actually a school course on the classroom in school where it teaches you how to do a chapter, open a chapter. And I'm happy to help coach people, guide through that, consult with that too, of how to really bring those communities together. So Q&A time. Any other questions? Any other answers?
I have a campsite reserved for Muncie this year, for next year. I haven't registered for the race yet, but that's kind of my target right now.
Cool.
So.
We'll be out there. Yeah, there's a lot of us here.
Yeah,
It's a fun race too.
Yeah, Muncie's fun.
yeah.
It is.
I
Muncie's
haven't done it.
fun.
You'll enjoy
I have a
it.
cousin that lives locally from there, and I did like a 3 disciplines race there a couple of years ago, a sprint distance there. So I'm kind of familiar with it, but yeah, looking for some local support from around there is, kind of helpful as well, because I don't know anybody besides, like my cousin that lives down there, and I don't really know anybody from my local tri clubs that are heading down there. So that's kind of why I was here, looking for some local support and, whatnot.
Yeah.
Put on a Loco kit and you'll be one of 50.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that even the community around there knows Loco well too. So people will be cheering for you, even if they're not part of the team. But yeah, plenty of resources. We'll be out there full force this year. Again, it's a beautiful race. I think it holds a piece of everyone's hearts. I grew up watching my dad race there. There's constantly races up there with different race directors. And there's actually on the playground, there's a big rocket ship that I have very fond memories of being knee high to a grasshopper, climbing on that thing and just wait for my dad to hit the finish line. So it's near and dear to my heart up there. And yeah, we'll certainly be there.
Plus Rubel puts on a half Ironman distance.
Yeah.
70.3 at a fraction of the cost of Ironman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
we are house divided with Muncie. This guy is one of its biggest fans. He loves Muncie, and I hate Muncie.
We've all had a bad experience at Muncie.
Yeah.
Yeah, it takes the best out of me. I end up always walking, but I keep coming.
Okay, so Muncie, I did it when it was in October only, and when it was in July, historically, I was like, well, I'm not doing it because it's July in Indiana, and I
Way
did
too
all kinds of
hot.
other races.
Yeah.
And then they moved it back to July, and he's been all for it. And this year, he called me because I had a different event down here. He called me and he was like, I don't think I'm cut out for triathlon. I'm like, you've been doing this for 15 years. It's too late. It's too late to
Yeah.
say that.
Hey, one thing that we would like to say is that we're very proud of belonging to this team. You guys are amazing athletes. Thank you for your introductions and presentations. I'm very in awe of you. Very
Thanks,
accomplished.
Antonio.
Yeah. So
Thank
Mark.
you. Thank you. I think everybody can agree when they say they're very proud to wear the Loco logo on their chest.
Absolutely.
It's a huge source of pride for a lot of athletes, including myself.
And it's known in so many places.
Yeah.
Loco is already a known. Even in Spain, I'm in
International.
Spain with my loco, and loco means crazy, right? In Spanish. So people were like, loco.
It's a badge of
We
honor.
definitely live up to that name.
Mhm. Absolutely. Thanks, Antonio. Hey, that means a lot coming from you. Age group champion, Wisconsin, 70.3 this year.
Thank you. Yeah.
Hell yeah, brother.
That's awesome. Aren't you supposed to be in Spain racing the World Championship right now?
No, I didn't qualify last year. So
Even that. Oh, so Wisconsin is for 2026. Okay.
yeah, it's Nice.
Nice. You're going, right?
We're going. Yeah, we're going to Nice.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice is nice.
Do we have any locals participating this year in the World Championship?
There's one guy who had joined in on school. He's actually from Australia.
Okay.
So he was out there. He went 440 this morning. And he's doing a sub 10 attempt in Australia in the next month or so.
Wow.
Alex Coe. So I actually have a call set up with him after his attempt. So we can jump in with him for some Q&A and stuff too.
That's awesome.
But yeah. So on that note, other things coming up next weekend. I am talking to Connor from On Your Left. It's an Instagram page. I recommend everyone go check it out. He brings a level of humor to triathlon that I think we all need. It's great. I've known him for a few years. He did an interview with me up at Age Group National Championships, and it was a lot of fun. But check him out. ONYER Left, On Your Left. He's a good time, a lot of fun with that. So we'll be sitting down and chatting with him in the future. And then we have got Alex in December. And I'm always open to ideas. If you guys have any people we should bring in to talk to, I'm happy to reach out to them. As far as sponsor support goes, we've got a pending deal with The Feed. Should be announced this week. The Feed is a nutrition shop. They've got nutrition all the way to like recovery gear, all sorts of stuff. I'm sure you've seen all the pros wearing the Feed hats. They're everywhere. Really cool group. And then, with that note too, if you guys have any companies you would like us to partner with, or you just want a discount from them, I'm happy to approach them. The more numbers we have, the easier it is to get them in to support the team and help us out. And again, bringing that level of cost in the sport down is very helpful for everybody. And so if anyone else has any questions, we can wrap up here. All right. Much thanks to Kate. Did you have something?
Yeah, I have a quick question. On the calendar, do you ever see like what other races people are doing? Like if there's a race I'm interested in, like, and I'm curious if there are other people that are going to be there, like out of town, does that get posted on the schoolhouse too?
Yep, we can.
Okay.
Just shoot it over to me. I can throw it on the calendar, and then feel free yourself too to jump in the general discussion, asking if anybody else is going to be there.
Okay. Still mulling over a few options for next year. I've got big plans, so I'm curious what people are doing.
What are you thinking? Tell us more.
I would actually like to do a full within the next year. And I'm kind of
Kate.
It's life-changing.
So my heart is also in Madison because one of my very good friends from childhood lives there. So I'm like, now I know the bike course, the hills, and I can do hard things. I'm not going to let that sway me. I've thought about Maryland. The jellyfish don't sound appealing, but I'm like, again, I can do hard things. But logistically, like, it's further away. Madison seems like the most sense because I have a lot of friends there. It's not that far. I have a place to stay. One of that same friend helps coordinate like most of the run aid stations. So I'm like, and I've got other friends that live in La Crosse. So, and friends in Chicago that could come up. So I'm like, it kind of looks like that, but then a friend of mine did Chattanooga and couldn't say enough good things about it. So I'm like, oh, I don't know. And I'm
Just
like, I
told
don't
us the
know.
reasons why you're
Yeah.
doing Madison.
Madison's a
Huh?
no-brainer.
Madison, yeah, just it
Yeah,
seems like
it's gotta
Madison
be.
kind of.
It's gotta be Wisconsin.
Do the Chattanooga half in May as part of
Okay.
your training. And
Okay.
Chattanooga is my favorite venue of
Nailed it.
all that I've experienced in Ironman, but then you could do Madison full. That's your season.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay.
you have way too many connections to Madison, and that
Yeah,
town is fantastic.
it is.
It's an icon of a race.
Yeah.
You've
Right.
sold
That
us.
was my first
Okay.
Ironman too, and it was an unbelievable experience. Like hands
Awesome.
down, best course. So.
Yeah.
I mean, it literally it's been in my heart for a long time. So I'm like, I really feel like that. And I've got like family that grew up in Wisconsin. So yeah, our cat's from Wisconsin. She's a rescue. So I'm like, just it's Badgers and Green Bay Packers
Signs are
all the
all
way.
pointing
Right
one
there.
way.
I've
You
done the
cannot
There you go.
convince
swim
us
and the
otherwise. This is the full you're doing.
All
Yeah.
right, there you
Yeah.
go. We're in.
Beautiful plan.
So we'll see.
Yeah. And I think I speak for all of us. The more people you can have on the course during that long day to support
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. So that's why I'm like, that seems like a no-brainer. I mean, it's just, I'm like, well, Maryland
Yep.
sounds nice too, and that sounds fun. But I'm like, but Madison also has like all the things that I would be hoping for in like my first full. So all the support, which is huge when you're doing a big event. So,
Absolutely.
and their
so yeah.
local groups do train. They do like group rides and training rides for the actual bike course.
Oh,
Yeah.
like up in Madison, you mean?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. That would be cool. That would
yeah.
be
Because I
fun. Then I
did
could
the
visit Shauna.
I did the swim and the bike. I ended up DNFing 4.5 miles into the run, but it
Aw.
was a good course.
Yeah, I've heard good things. Get through that bike. I know there's the hill elevation's no joke, but I'm like, well, I trained in Hamilton proper right now. I think I can go up to Madison and do some loops. So
Hey, I did the same thing and I was fine.
so that's why I see you there.
I did a few rides in Bloomington, but like
Sounds good. Thank you.
Great. Good question there. Anyone else?
I think one thing, Josh, as we go forward into the 2026 season is maybe have specific, like we're doing today, chats about a certain race course. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of people with a lot of experience on this call today. If somebody's going to do Chattanooga as it's upcoming, maybe the 3 months before, a couple months before, is actually have a call like this that would recap that course.
Yeah.
And then people can
Okay.
actually make,
Yeah, I like that.
especially when you're talking about Wisconsin being what, a September race, it gives you to say, okay, here's a Wisconsin recap, whether you're doing the 70.3 or the full. I think that would be a great cast to put out there.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Wonderful idea. I like that.
Me
A
too.
lot of experience here. A lot of experience.
Yeah, absolutely. One last shameless plug. I forgot to talk about Breathwork 28-day challenge in December. Guaranteed to improve your VO2 max. I haven't posted it yet either, but Timmy at NIFS actually does VO2 testing. And if anybody wants to test their VO2 max before the challenge or then after the challenge, I'll fund that for you so that we can show the data. So jump into that. There will be 5 lead sessions, virtual lead sessions by yours truly. I am a certified breathwork facilitator. What this does is it trains your body how to get rid of the CO2, to bring in the oxygen, to deliver oxygen to your muscles, strengthens your diaphragm. Resiliency wise, it helped me so much in my swimming. I was at every stroke breather. Once I really dug into breath work, I go every other stroke now. In those moments where you might feel panic, this will really help you train your body to know that you don't need to take a breath yet, because you've done breath holds in your breath work, and it just helps you maintain a regulated nervous system. And with that, it also helps you recover better as well. So when you're in the fight or flight state, all of the blood is in your extremities because your body's ready to fight or flight. If you can get into your rest and digest, that blood returns to your organs so that you can process food better, and rest and recover, just as it says. So I hope you guys will join me for that. It's included in your membership on school. It'll be a really cool experience. You also get guided tracks you'll have 4 guided tracks that you can take with you. It'll be from beginner to advanced levels. And I think everybody will see a lot of benefits from that. So with that, everybody, thank you so much for jumping in today. Thank you for your patronism of Tri-Loco. I'm so excited for the next season with everybody and where we're going with this, and can't wait to see you guys out on the course.
Yay. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Have a
Thank
great
you.
Sunday.
Thank you,
Stay
guys.
loco. Happy training.
Thank
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye,
Bye.
guys.
See you guys.